This is the matter of Nigel Ingersoll versus Krista Carnahan. Also here on the matter of Nigel Ingersoll and Cassandra Ingersoll. I believe it's now Varen. Right. You are Mr. Ingersoll?
Yes, Your Honor, that is correct.
And let me see if we get him right. You are Ms. Carnahan?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Ingersoll, can you hear me on Zoom? If you take yourself off mute for just a moment.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. We also have with us Ms. Kraus from the Friend of the Court's office. There is a petition in both of these files that the Friend of the Court has brought, and let me address that first, and then we'll get into the parenting time and custody issues that you filed after that. The Friend of the Court is asking for some additional information to determine the plaintiff's income. Ms. Kraus, what specifically are you looking for from Mr. Ingersoll?
I did receive in November for his income, but we're requesting as to what should be inputted and not, and or what would be excluded. So the information that Friend of the Court received from Mr. Ingersoll indicated that he had income of $2,900 for November. In December was $2,450, but he did outline other items, shop rent, truck payment, Photoshop, and a few other entities. So we are just seeking direction from the court on what to use for his income.
Mr. Ingersoll, are you claiming that those things that she just mentioned are business expenses?
I do have a lot of business expenses, Your Honor. Supplies, needles, ink. Like, it's not like I spend $1 billion, but it's not exactly cheap. And I have other bills as well, you know, car insurance. I had a truck payment. I just purchased another vehicle, so I'm actually out of the payment that I was on. But I'm paying rent. I have a shop rent.
All normal expenses
Yes,
for
sir.
people who are employed.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Kraus, is there any specific exception for those expenses that he has submitted? Or do they fall under the normal, they're just part of the business expenses and they don't normally get excluded?
Potentially, it would be the shop rent. I just need to, I guess, verify if it's in his household or if it's in a business. That would be potentially excluded from his gross income.
I am not tattooing in a residence.
Where are you tattooing at?
I'm tattooing out of Harbor Moon.
I'm sorry?
The name of the tattoo shop is Harbor Moon.
Where is that located?
It's on Main Street, 145 West Main, Suite 2.
All right. Are you renting that from the business, from the building owner?
I'm renting it from the business owner. So the owner of that business, like whatever she's got going on, and I pay her a monthly fee.
So you're
to use
inside
one of
another
those.
tattoo shop?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Kraus, is that helpful to you, or is that you still need me to make a decision?
I believe it would be helpful. I will review the manual itself and potentially, if needed, readdress the court at a later date. But I would like to have additional information from November to current so we can at least do an average since his date for the monthly income, because we just have November and December. If he could provide that to Friend of the Court, that would be beneficial.
All right, so you want this, hang on just a second. You want the same information that he previously submitted, just updated as to January and February?
Things itemized that are specifically for his work, not his car insurance and those type of items. That way we can go through the calculation guidelines to potentially exclude them.
All right, Mr. Ingersoll, do you have any questions about that?
I did the math for January and what my current gross income has been for this month. I think I could either say it out loud or I could.
She's going to need the documentation for that as well.
Yeah, I figured we were having court. I just did the math on it. I figured since this was happening, the January Miss Cross is going to be 48.55, and then the current for this month is 43 on the dot.
And is that amount including taking out that $700 in rent?
No.
Okay. And what other fees are you aware of that are costs that you would incur for tattooing? Do you have insurance or other expenses?
The shop is insured, or the shop is insured. Put that in the dictionary. The shop that I'm working at is licensed and insured. Like I'm licensed. Like I have.
She's asking if you have any additional expenses for the business, such as for insurance for the business, but if the.
I'm gonna say no. Like anything else, I pay for my supplies and I just file that at the end of the year when I do my taxes.
Okay.
Anything else that you, Ms. Kraus?
No, I believe I would be able to. I, again, would have to research in regards to the rent aspect, but if not, at least we have the gross income.
All right, why don't you do that? And then you can put whatever, you can meet with me and we'll decide what we want to do.
Sure.
And then give Mr. Ingersoll an opportunity to object if he has any objections to that under the normal process for that. And then if he needs to have a hearing in front of me, he can do that at a later time. Is there anything else that you need today, Ms. Kraus?
No, I do not believe so. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. You're free to go at this time if you wish.
Okay.
Ms. Carnahan, as I understand it, the rest of the hearing is on custody and parenting time, but I only have a motion in the other case. I don't have one as to you. Mr. Ingersoll, did you only file it in the case with Ms. Varon or Ms.?
I honestly thought they were all going to be grouped together. Like I may have overlooked that, or
So
maybe I was under the
You
impression.
are asking for custody and parenting time to be changed in both of these files?
I would love that.
Well, that wasn't my question. My question was, did you ask for it? Because they're both entitled to notice to know what they're here for. And I only see documentation for a petition, a motion in the Cassandra Varon case.
I got nothing, Your Honor.
Do you have some documentation that would show that you made a motion for change of custody or parenting time as to Ms. Carnahan?
No,
I'll look
I
again.
don't have that one.
But I don't see one.
There's not anything in the register of actions either, sir.
All right, thank you very much. Ms. Carnahan, you have a choice to make then. You can say, I didn't get notice of any motion for today about custody and parenting time, and I do not want to participate in that at this time. Or you can say, I will agree to be involved in that, and then I could make decisions about custody and parenting time of the child that the two of you share. That is entirely up to you. He has not filed a motion, and you're entitled to notice what that motion says and to have a separate hearing if you wish. What would you like to do today?
I would like to put a pin in that if possible. Nigel and I have a verbal agreement. Riot does not do overnights with his dad. And he has agreed with Riot's feelings on that and without.
Okay, so you'd like to continue the status quo as it is right now?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, then you can stay if you would like to, but you're not required to at this point, and I will not address that portion of the case. I will not address your child with Mr. Ingersoll because he's not given you proper notice for today's hearing.
All right.
All right. So if you want to stay back in the pews, if you would, if you want to leave, that's entirely up to you as well.
I'm just gonna go back to work.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. All right. Let me make sure I'm using the correct verbiage. Is it Ms. Varon or is it Ms. Ingersoll? Which do you prefer?
Sorry, I couldn't unmute it. Legally, I'm still Miss Ingersoll by Social Security Office's standards. So legally, it is still Ingersoll.
What do you want me to call you today?
You can call me Miss Vern.
All right. Ms. Vern, the motion that was filed for change of custody and parenting time does apply to your case because Mr. Ingersoll submitted that to the court. Have you received a copy of that motion for custody and then the separate motion for parenting time?
Yes.
All right. Are you prepared to go forward with those today?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Ingersoll, in addressing your custody and parenting time motions, there are portions of the forms that were not filled out, and there are some legal requirements that I ask you about. So I'm going to do that first before we get into the specifics of the case. On a custody case, excuse me, the requirements of the statute and of the motion itself under paragraph 5 say that there must be proper cause or a significant change of circumstances that has changed in order for the court to consider changing a custody motion or a custody order. In your mind, what is the proper cause or significant change of circumstances that has occurred that would allow this court to change the custody order?
The first thing I would say, Your Honor, is me being released from prison. I am not on parole. I am not on probation. I am employed. I have a reliable vehicle. It is insured. I have a valid driver's license. I have plenty of room for my daughter. I actually have a bed in the back of the vehicle. I stayed in contact while I was incarcerated.
Pause there just for a minute. Ms. Byrne, is there somebody with you there? Who's there? Who's with you there?
It's my daughter. She's just running around the backyard.
Well, that's not going to be appropriate for her to be listening to what we're going to be talking about today. Is there some other place that she can be put for the next half hour or hour or so?
I can go in the house. That's fine. Boo, you got to stay outside with Lex, okay? Because I got to go in the house. All right. Sorry.
No, that's all right. I don't expect you to know what the rules of the court are, but it's just inappropriate to have the child who may be
No,
the
I
subject.
understand. She was off in the yard playing, and I was sitting on the porch, and she just came up on the porch to talk to me for a second. She's good. She's outside. I'm inside.
All right. Thank you very much.
No
So,
problem.
Mr. Ingersoll, basically what you're saying is you didn't have any opportunity to have contact with the child when you were in prison, and now you're out of prison and do want to have contact with the child.
No, sir, that is not accurate at all. I called almost every single day. I've stayed in contact with her. I was released. I came up here and spent the day with my son, and then I went down to Tennessee with her and my daughter. Some personal stuff between us that doesn't belong in a courtroom happened. I left to come back to Michigan. She filed a motion. I went to court, I don't know, last week, 2 weeks ago, something like that, in Tennessee. And her motion for an order of protection was denied. I don't know if anybody got a chance to watch these little videos that she submitted, but I actually asked the judge down where she's at if I could play the rest of the video and like the.
All right. I think you're getting ahead of me here. So,
okay, sorry, sir.
there was a judgment of divorce in March of 2024.
Yes, sir.
And Judge Mertz, I believe, granted custody of Roman, right?
Yes, sir.
Custody of Roman, sole legal and sole physical to mom. Is that accurate?
Yes, Your Honor. At the time, I thought the best decision for my.
I'm not asking you to explain it yet.
Yes, sir.
Slow yourself down just a little bit. Let me get where I'm supposed to be first. All right.
Yes, sir.
So since that date, which would, I believe it was filed with the court on March 28th of 2024, you mentioned that you were in prison. What time was that? What dates?
October 25th to October 25th of 23 to August 22nd of 25.
All right. So during the divorce judgment time period, you were in prison and weren't able to have physical contact with your child.
Correct.
All right. That's what I wanted to establish. So I do believe that your release from prison and your now availability for physical contact with your child would be a proper cause or a significant change of circumstances in the child's life. So I will allow you to proceed on the custody hearing for that. The next legal issue is whether or not there is what's called an established custodial environment. That is, do you spend significant time with the child? Does the child look to you for decision-making that a parent would do? Is there an emotional connection with the child? All
Sure.
of those kinds of things. So could you, and I'll give you a chance in just a minute, Ms. Barron, to say something that you wish to say. But Mr. Ingersoll, could you talk to me about your connections with the child currently to determine whether or not there is an established custodial environment with you or with Ms. Byrne, because that will affect how much proof you have to have in the rest of the case.
2 minutes before I walked in the door, I was on the phone with him. Before I did this, I called and I was talking like,
Well, let me do this to make it easier for both of us. I'm going to read to you what an established custodial environment means.
I just want to say, Your Honor, that this story is going to get thick. There's multiple layers to this. It'll all come together.
Don't doubt that. Okay, so but let me take it one step at a time for you. Okay, so this next legal issue is called an established custodial environment, and that helps me know who has the burden of proof. That is, who is responsible for bringing the evidence forward and how much evidence that they have to have in the rest of the case. Okay, so a custodial environment or an established custodial environment is if over an appreciable amount of time the child naturally looks to that person, mom or dad, or both, for guidance, discipline, the necessities of life, and parental comfort. The age of the child, the physical environment, and the inclination of the custodian and the child as to permanency are all to be considered. Depends on if there's been a significant duration over which the child has provided the parental care, discipline, love, guidance, and attention appropriate to the child's age and individual needs. And the established custodial environment is marked by qualities of security, stability, and permanence. So those are the things that I'm looking for to determine whether or not you have them. Could you tell me briefly what you think those things are in your particular case with Roman?
Your Honor, I believe that this court wants to ensure that I can be a good father, a role model. I can be a provider. I need to be able to figure out if she's hungry, tired, like I'm her father. And
Yeah, the question isn't whether you can do those things in the future yet. The question is, are you doing those right now?
I am not. I'm calling emotional. I call as much as I can. I can explain why I am not. Like that's a little.
And I'm going to give you an opportunity to do all of that in the rest of the case. So all I really need to know first is what are you currently doing in all of those areas that I just described?
Phone and video contacts, and I did send her some money last week to help with my daughter's tuition for daycare, I believe is the word she used. I also went down to court and I got a gift for my daughter. So financial, emotional, and it's going to get even more financial, like when the child support order is established. I've tried to make a payment, but there hasn't been anything established. So,
okay.
Okay, there's more, but we'll get into that.
Is there anything else that you want me to tell me about this established custodial environment?
I am available, but I have not been able to be available.
Okay. You want to be more available, but it just hasn't happened yet.
I want to be all the way available, sir. Yes.
All right. Ms. Viren, could you describe what your custodial environment looks like right now and what Mr. Ingersoll's involvement has been to date?
I'm
sorry, go ahead.
My custodial involvement is all day, every day. She's fed, she's bathed, she's clothed, she goes to daycare. I do all the things. Yes, Nigel has called and kept in contact, and we video chatted, and he did send me $150 towards my daughter's daycare. Daycare is $200 a week. So it helped a little bit, but and again with the child support order it'll be fine, but I mean, yeah, he sent presents and stuff like that. He calls. I mean, she knows who he is. She knows his voice. She knows what he looks like. She, she can call her. I don't know. She knows who he is. Aside from that, obviously we live states away, so it's not like we can just come hang out whenever. So
And
as
currently,
far as
are you currently in Tennessee? Is that where you're at?
correct, yeah.
All right. How
And
long?
we've been here for a year and a half since July 24th of 24.
How much of that period of time has Mr. Ingersoll been involved in the child's life to any extent?
When he got out of prison, he came down here for a couple weeks. So he was around then for that short period of time, but outside of that, obviously he hasn't been here. He came down for court and we met up for lunch, and I let them kind of hang out for a little bit, and we all hung out for about an hour and a half. But then he had to drive back to Michigan, so it wasn't anything spectacular. But they had a couple hours to hang out. So like I said, I mean, she knows who he is, and obviously she loves him and he loves her and that kind of thing. But I just worry about, he's only 4 and he doesn't have experience with 4-year-olds, even with his other son, he wasn't around really during that time period. And I don't know.
All right. Thank you very much. That gives me a better handle on the established custodial environment. It does appear to me that mom has the established custodial environment that was recognized as part of the judgment of divorce when she was given sole physical and sole legal custody of the child. And it appears that dad wants to have a greater relationship with the child. But there's not been an appreciable time where the child would naturally look to him for all of those things as a parent. He's begun that process, but he's not anywhere near established in it. He's not providing the majority of the necessities of life or parental comfort, guidance, or discipline. He's attempting to establish a loving relationship, but he's just beginning that process at this point. And I don't believe that the child currently looks to him for security, stability, and permanence. That would all be with the mother. So I'm going to find that the established custodial environment is with the mother. And because of that, Mr. Ingersoll, dad would have the burden of proof by clear and convincing evidence that custody should be changed. As to parenting time is not the same as custody. Custody is who takes care of the child on a regular basis. Parenting time is a lesser form of that, if you will. It's the sharing of the child, but it's not the person who's ultimately fully responsible for the child. Custody can be joint. Custody can be split 50-50, 70-30, can be split in a number of different ways. Right now, mom has sole legal and sole physical, so there would be a clear and convincing evidence standard, which is fairly high against dad to change custody, but that does not necessarily apply to a change in parenting time or a specific parenting time arrangement that does not change the established custodial environment. Have the parties negotiated at all about parenting time?
Yes, I have given him a couple options.
All right. And Mr. Ingersoll, have you considered those options?
I have. The only problem that I have is, so she doesn't want to deal with the court, right? She wants to do as we agreed. All right. Well, right now, we obviously don't agree. She wants me to go down to Tennessee and post up for a few days, either get an Airbnb or a hotel or camp or, whatever the case may be, and then just come back to Michigan, whereas I have all the space, I have a reliable vehicle, I have the means to take care of her in any way she needs, like emotionally, financially, medically, like anything that happens, like I am available. The only reason I haven't been available is because she blocked me on every social media platform there was. She asked me to leave. Tennessee because we got into an argument, and in an effort to maintain my own self-preservation and not end up back in jail, I left as I didn't have any, I wasn't on the lease to her house. She asked me to leave, so I left. Like
I don't understand why this is even being talked
So-
about.
Okay,
So-
Ms. Vern,
So
hang on. The way the court system works is once he's done, you're going to have a chance to speak as well. If you have an objection, you can certainly say that. Say, court judge, I have an objection to what he's saying. I'll listen to what your objection is, and then I'll go back to having him explain what he wants me to do, and I'll decide who gets to talk. But we don't just argue. This is not like what
Yes, sir.
happens out on the street
Yes, sir.
corner or in your living room. All right. So there
Yes, sir.
has to be some order, and we have to record this. So I understand that you get it, and I'll appreciate you abiding by that in the future. So go ahead and finish your thoughts, sir.
So while I was in Tennessee, Your Honor, and I printed out feeding her, braiding her hair, brushing her teeth, tucking her in, I did all that. And then Mom and I got into a disagreement, and I split. I came back to Michigan. I'm employed. I have a place to live. I have room for my daughter.
Okay.
I have everything
Slow down
to
for
take
just a
care of.
second. I'm gonna give you an
Yes, sir.
opportunity to tell me all of those things in just a minute, but we're still kind of in the getting there stage. The reason I asked the initial question was whether or not you've had some time to talk about parenting time is often at the beginning of cases where there is been a disruption of one parent's ability to see the child, such as when you were in prison. There's often a reintroduction period. That is, you start small and you build up to seeing how the child reacts to you. I'm not saying anything about your ability to have the child with you, but I don't know specifically how the child is going to react. Maybe the child will have a great time, and I hope that the child does, but I don't know that yet. So it's normal. Almost every case that I've ever been involved in, and I've been involved in a lot, starts out slowly with usually the dad coming to where, or the mom, whoever's been away from the child, coming to where the child is, so that the child is at a place where the child is comfortable. And it's not about the parents, it's about what the child would like and how the child would best react. So typically, and you started that off by going to Tennessee. So, I mean, you've done basically what the court would normally do. You go to Tennessee, you see the child, you see how the child would react, and then you say, all right, let's do that a few times to make sure that it's not going to cause any long-term problems, or one time is hard to say that it's good. You got to usually do it a few times. And then you begin to have longer periods of time. And then you have overnights, and then you have longer periods of overnights. And then you get up to wherever the parties can agree, or whatever the court decides is going to be the long-term solution. So having said that, I am willing to listen to whatever it is that you want to say. I'm not going to pre-decide that, but I wanted you to know that that's the normal process. Okay, so that you're not thinking that I'm imposing something that is out of the ordinary. That's how we typically do everybody's case. Now there are exceptions, and I'll grant you that, but they're few and far between. So the majority of cases, well into the 90 percentages, is what I just talked about. There's a slow reintroduction. And it's more difficult. I get that. It's more difficult the further away that the child is. But it's still what's in the best interest of the child. So the rest of today's court hearing is going to be in what's in the child's best interest, not what's in your best interest or what's in Ms. Vern's best interest, but what's in the child's best interest. And usually reintroduction slowly and over time is in the child's best interest. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm starting out from. I'm happy to allow the two of you, now that I've said what that normal process is, to have a little bit of time, if you wish, to negotiate, to see if you can come up with a plan for that. If you don't want to do that, then I will allow both sides to have a fair opportunity to present whatever evidence that you want today. And I'll make a decision today. So, Mr. Ingersoll, would you like to have some time to negotiate, or would you like to simply present your evidence?
I'd like to present my evidence. I wanted to negotiate. I tried her term. Listen, I understand what everybody's saying. I think it's more than fair what she's saying. I understand the reintroduction. I want to proceed.
All right.
What?
Go ahead, man.
I would like to try to negotiate. I don't know why he's trying to fight it. You just told him that there's going to have to be a reintroduction process, which is exactly what I said to him. Like, come down here, stay for a couple days, see how she is with you, do that a couple times. Like, I've literally given him the option that you just told him is what it's going to be. So I don't see the point in dragging this out and showing evidence and doing all of that. Like, it's not going to help him in any way.
Yep. Mr. Ingersoll, do you want to do that, or you want to just present your evidence today?
I really don't want to lay all this out. I really don't want to do it here, but I think this leading up to me saying, like, we're already established. I guarantee you, if you ask that little girl, like, go and get her on the camera, and I say, hey, you want to come hang out with me for a couple days? Like, let's let her make the decision. That's all I'm saying.
That's not going to happen.
Well, so however it starts, I want to participate. I do not believe that all the responsibility should fall on the mother of my daughter.
The only question right now, and I'll let you make your arguments in just a moment. The only question right now is, should we negotiate? It appears that you don't.
Hear out the negotiation.
All right. So if I give you guys 15 minutes to try to reach some sort of an agreement, would that be sufficient to decide whether or not you can?
Yes,
all right.
that's
So
fine.
what I'm going to do then, Ms. Verne, I'm going to leave you on Zoom. I'm going to clear the courtroom so that everybody is out of the courtroom, so we're not listening to what you're saying or what you're doing. That assumes that the two of you can talk nicely to each other.
Yes.
Well, you will, or I'll come back in and people are not going to be happy with what I'm going to do. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna leave the courtroom. I need the two of you to talk civilly. If you can't talk civilly, the deputy will be outside the door room and he'll let me know that you're done talking. If he hears loud noise, he's just going to say, Judge, they're yelling at each other, and we're going to stop the process right there. Okay?
Yes,
so I'm going to let you be adults in the room. We're all going to leave. So give us a minute or two. We'll be out of here. I'm going to turn off the video, turn off the recording. So none of that is being recorded while we're doing that. It is on Zoom. I don't know if anybody else is listening or not. I can't say that, but the two of you are alone. We're not able to reach an agreement.
I'm agreeable. I don't, there's no reason to lay out all the evidence. You said there's going to have to be a reestablishment period. That's what I'm asking for him to come down and hang out a little bit here and there until I can see how everything's going, and then we can go from there.
Mr. Ingersoll?
I definitely understand the book's definition of a reestablished thing. Respectfully, I think we're past that. I'm not a complete stranger to this little girl, and it's not like she's going to be completely shocked by the sight of me.
Okay. All you need to say is I don't agree.
I don't agree.
All right. Then we'll proceed
I'd like
with the
to-
hearing. All right. Ms. Varen, what I'm going to do next is give Mr. Ingersoll an opportunity to testify and to submit whatever documentation that he thinks is appropriate. I'll make a ruling on whether or not the documents are appropriate or not. You can object to anything that you think is inappropriate or illegal for him to talk about. Once there is an objection, both sides will stop. I'll ask what your objection is, and you can tell me, and then I'll ask him what is appropriate for me to ask about that objection, and then I'll make a ruling and we'll move forward from there. Once he is done with his testimony, you can, if you wish, testify yourself, although you're not required to. And the same rules would apply to you, that if you testify, you would be subject to cross-examination, just like you'll be able to ask him questions once he's done. He'll be able to ask you questions if you decide to testify. Do either of you have any questions about the court's procedure?
No.
No.
All right. Mr. Ingersoll, because you've got a lot of materials, I'm simply going to allow you to testify from the place where you're at. Would you raise your right hand so I can swear you in? You swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
All right. Go ahead, sir. You may begin your testimony.
When her and I separated, she had moved out. I went up and I filed for divorce, and I had our daughter for like, I don't know, 2 weeks or something.
Approximately when was that?
So that was July, after we got back from the Limp Bizkit concert. That's pretty much what happened. She moved out.
That doesn't tell me when.
Uh,
July of when?
23.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
July 23, she moved out. She took her oldest two with her, and it was summer. I don't know what they did. I think they went camping or something, and it looked like they had a blast, to be honest. Well, I had my daughter for the 2 weeks that she was looking for a place that she did.
I object.
What's your objection?
It wasn't 2 weeks. He had her for 2 days. I stayed at a campground for 3 nights with my daughters until I
Okay,
found.
slow down. An objection typically is a legal reason why he can't say what he wants to say.
He's
It's
lying.
not, well, hang on. Typically, it's not, I disagree with what he's saying. You'll be given an opportunity when it's your turn to tell me what you disagree with as far as facts. If
Okay.
there's a legal reason why he shouldn't say it at all, then you can object. But a disagreement about what the facts are is not a legal reason to not say it at all. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yep.
All right. So thank you very much for listening to that. Go ahead, Mr. Ingersoll.
I would like to say, so where I'm currently residing, is a friend of mine, and wife, daughter, all that good stuff. Well, so she was the babysitter, and so was her mom. When this was all happening,
She is who are you talking about?
So Kiana is her name. So Cassandra and I were using this teenage girl for a babysitter.
Kiana.
Yes.
All right.
So when she moved out and I had to go to work, my friend's wife and his daughter were babysitting our daughter together. When she got her own place, like I was like, hey, I'm sure you want to see your daughter. I didn't try to do anything weird. Like it had been, it'd been a while, she'd seen her, but she had two other kids. So I had my daughter. Like she wanted to try to prove to me that, like, so I did. Then I was arrested.
Okay, let me stop right where you're at right now. You're talking to me about time frame back in July of 23, right?
Yes.
The court, Judge Mertz, made an order in March, excuse me, let me find it again. March of 24.
Yes,
That
sir.
said that mom has sole physical and sole legal custody. I can't go back behind the other judge's back and make a change. I can only go forward from when the last time that the judge looked at it. So that's March of 24 forward is what I can do stuff with. So anything that happened before then, that's water under the bridge.
Yes, sir. So,
Okay, so if you start from March of 24, when the
I got it.
judgment of divorce was granted.
So I filed for divorce. 2 weeks later, I was arrested. We still went through the court proceedings and I was divorced. Part of our divorce agreement, I felt the responsible thing for me to do as a parent would be to relinquish custody to the mother as I was indisposed and wasn't going to be able to make any medical decision or anything like that. The custody was as we agreed. So I stayed in contact. I actually caught 2 felonies while sitting in jail from communicating with her and talking to my daughter, which was cool, whatever, it's fine. So I go to prison. I have just 1 month's worth of printouts that I was actually going to use to show my son how many times I tried to call him and his mom was dodging my calls. She was here, but so I've stayed in contact. I called almost every day except when we were locked down, which was a lot. But like I have a month here and you can see I called every single day, Your Honor. The yellow highlighted is where I stayed in contact. So upon my release, I came to see my son and I went down to Tennessee to see my daughter. I painted her nails, I fed her, I tucked her in, we snuggled, I braided her hair, I did everything that I was supposed to do as a father. Her mother and I got into a personal disagreement, which resulted in me being asked to leave. Me not having any grounds to be at that residence, I took the high road. I drew on her oldest daughter and my daughter before I split, and I came back to Michigan. I found residency. I found a job. I found a vehicle. I upgraded and got a better vehicle 2 days ago. I have insurance on it. I have a valid driver's license. The registration is in my name. I have a bed for my daughter. I have the financial means to take care of her. I think this reintroduction period, maybe by the book, would be if somebody was like completely ghost. But from my daughter's birth until my arrest, I was there every day, except when her and I were at rock concerts due to my inability to control myself with buying rock concert tickets. So her, like I've been around, I've been present. I'm not a stranger to my daughter. I think it would be slightly unnecessary and potentially even inconvenient to ask me to drive down to Tennessee and rent an Airbnb to hang out with my daughter for 3 days to quote unquote see how it goes when I'm not a complete stranger. Like she knows who I am. I have the space and every means available to take care of her. I do understand and respect her mother's reservations as well as the court's rules in regards to how things are supposed to go. I think it's a special circumstance because I didn't just disappear for 2 years. Like I still maintained contact. Now had my daughter's mother not blocked me on Facebook, blocked my phone number, went to file some wild PPO, and cut off all communication with me, I could have been in even more contact. But I went down to Tennessee for to attend this court hearing, and she tried to play this little clip of a video where I admitted that I put my hands on her, and I would do it again if she did what she did the night the same way it all happened. Well, I played the rest of the video, and the judge denied her motion, and basically called her an antagonist and like commended me for not wanting to argue or walk away. So this little video that she turned into, she's trying to paint me in a way like, okay, I own up to it, man. Like we've had our own problems, and that's, it's unfortunate, truthfully. But I'm definitely not a stranger. The judge ruled against her motion, and she did let me meet up, and we went and had food, and I got to go see where she works, and my daughter tells me that she goes to this bar every day, and there's karaoke and there's sparkly stuff, and she loves it.
Mr. Ingersoll,
But I don't think.
unfortunately, what you just told me is called hearsay.
Oh no, that wasn't hearsay. I seen it. I can show you my map, sir. I was there. I took pictures.
What you said was your daughter told you that her mother went to the bar every day.
No. Like she works at the bar, and she takes my daughter to the bar to work.
Is that what your daughter told you?
Ask her.
Is that what your
Yes,
daughter,
it is.
Then what you just told me is called hearsay, and I can't hear that. I have to listen to the people who actually said it, not you repeat what somebody else said.
Well, since I am under oath.
Slow down. I'm just telling you that there's a legal reason
Yes, Your Honor.
that I can't listen to what you just said. If there's a different way to prove it, then I'm happy to listen to it, but I can't listen to things that are illegal for me to listen to. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so please go ahead.
So, my, I don't know if my daughter is going to her place of employment, which it's pretty mellow. It's Nashville, it's a nice town. I don't know if babysitters are scarce. I do know that I am in a position where I am a good influence on this little girl, and she deserves to have me around for more than just a couple hours at a time. I think, cutting me off, and I've asked her multiple times, and I highlighted it and turned this in, where all I wanted to do was have a relationship with my daughter, and all she wants to do is argue about our relationship or what happened in our relationship. She can't stay on task. So I would like to ask this court to consider making a change in the parenting time and even potentially at some point the custody agreement, as I am currently in a position to provide in any manner necessary. So
Is there anything else that you can think of at the moment that you want me to be aware of?
yes, that if you were to tell me that I could go grab my daughter, I would leave here and I would get on 75 South right now to go see my baby.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Varian, do you have any questions for Mr. Ingersoll?
No.
All right, I do have some questions. Mr. Ingersoll, in Michigan, there are things called the best interests of the child factors, and there are 10 or 11, sometimes 12, depending on how you break them up. I'm going to ask you some questions about those things because I'm specifically required by statute to inquire and make a decision about those things. So let me ask these questions. And Ms. Varian, if my questions lead to some questions from you, I'd give you an opportunity to, after I'm done, to ask some additional questions if you need to. All right, Mr. Ingersoll, the first factor is love, affection, and other emotional ties which exist between you and the child. Could you describe that for me, please?
The love and affection between my daughter
Love,
and
affection, and emotional ties that exist between you and your daughter.
Well, we definitely do have an emotional tie. I've stayed in contact. I know that it's my responsibility to teach her things in life it's not her mom's responsibility. It's not called daddy's girl for no reason. I tell her I love her. I tell her that she is beautiful. I tell her to be good and to listen to her mom and brush her teeth and eat all of her dinner and be nice to her sisters. I have expressed my love and affection much as any father probably possibly could from the position I'm in.
Any other information about love, affection, and emotional ties that you want me to be aware of?
That nothing can break it between us. That little girl's my little girl forever.
All right. The next one is similar to that, but it talks about future kinds of things. So it talks about the capacity and disposition. That is the amount, capacity, and disposition, forward progress, to give the child love, affection, and guidance, and to continue the education and raising of the child in his or her religion or creed, if any. So again, love, affection, and guidance, but also education and religion or creed, if any. Talk about those things for me, please.
I absolutely would love to braid her hair before school in the morning. I would love to help her with her homework. I don't know about the whole religion thing. If that was something that we could, like, I would absolutely have that conversation. I would be available for education in homework, getting her prepped for school, getting her either on the bus or taking her to school.
Any other information in that category?
I'm not that good at math, but I could definitely help her with the coloring.
All right. The third area, again, talks about that capacity and disposition. That is the ability and the long-term outlook to provide the child with food, clothing, medical care, other care recognized and permitted in the state in place of medical care, and any other material needs. So the idea is, how would you be able to provide for food, clothing, medical care, and material needs?
Well, the first thing, Your Honor, I would say would be paying attention to my child's health to make sure there are no issues. If there was an issue, I would probably go to the hospital, or I'd probably go to the hospital or call her mom first, unless it was one of those where I really should just go to the hospital. I feel like I would be able to provide medical assistance if needed.
Any other information you want me to have about your ability to provide food, clothing, or material needs?
Yes, I work a very decent paying job and I very much have the ability to provide all of that in any amount she'd ever want, really. I'm able to provide because I have a full, consistent, steady job at the moment.
What are your hours of work?
I start at 10 to 5 usually.
If the child was with you, what would you do with the child during your working hours?
I would find somebody to watch. I have my father lives here, my grandmother lives here. The previous babysitter, just a little older, but still not working a traditional job. So the availability for somebody to watch her would definitely be available. I have a support system here that could help me in the event that I need it.
Anything else that you want me to know about this category?
I answered all the questions right.
The next category is the length of time that the child has lived in a stable, satisfactory environment and the desirability of maintaining continuity. Why would you think that we should remove the child from the mother and bring the child here to live with you?
I think that in not doing so, Your Honor, respectfully, would be mental child abuse. I think that that little girl deserves to have a mother and a father, as it took a mother and father to create her. I don't think that it is solely the mother's responsibility just because she's the one that biologically birthed her. I very much think that the obligation to raise a child should very much fall as equally on my behalf as the mother's, and it shouldn't be about my wallet, but more what I can provide for the child, which is more than just money.
Anything else you want me to know about in this category?
What was the first question again?
Anything else you want me to know about in this category?
Yeah, like what was the category?
Yep. The child living in a stable, satisfactory environment and the desirability of maintaining continuity.
I would definitely be able to provide a stable environment. I keep a clean house, clean room. I got those pictures in here somewhere too that I could show you guys. Stability is definitely something that I am going to be able to provide.
The next category is what basically just what you started talking about there, the permanence as a family unit of the existing or proposed custodial home. That is, tell me a little bit about where you would be keeping her, who else would be in the home, what the relationships are within the home, what would the home life be here with the child with you.
So at the moment, I am staying with a friend. I have an entire level to myself. I have my own bathroom. I have an area set up. I have everything that I need. I am probably a week away from maybe getting my own house, depending on how the market is around here, as I'm currently financially ready to get a residence as well, now that I've completed a solid vehicle. So it is a friend of mine who my daughter has met, as well as his wife and daughter and their son. I am in a relationship. My daughter has not met my new girlfriend, but that is actually inevitable at some point as I'm expecting another child.
You're not living with your current girlfriend?
We are together, yes.
So when you said you're staying with a friend, that is the friend that you were referring to?
No, my friend's name is Mason. We'll refer to him, well, we'll call him Mr. Stevens. And then my girlfriend and I are staying together, and I am on the market for my own residence.
So in the house that you're staying at, is your girlfriend and you in this upper level?
We're on the lower
Lower
level.
level, all right. Does she have any additional children of her own?
No.
And do you have any additional children of your own staying with you now?
Only when he comes over.
So you're staying at Mr. Stevens' house. How many are in that household?
So let's see. There's 7 right now, soon to be 6, as he is getting ready to go to college for diesel school. He will be leaving next week.
So in Mr. Stevens' household, there's Mr. Stevens,
His wife,
his wife,
his daughter, his son, and then her boyfriend, daughter's boyfriend,
daughter's boyfriend,
who's getting ready to go to college.
daughter is.
The daughter's boyfriend's getting ready to go to college.
So the boyfriend will be in and out.
He'll be out. He's going to Wyoming. He's going to diesel school. 9-month program.
Okay. How old is the daughter?
17. Well, she'll be 17 this week.
So there's 2 kids.
15-year-old boy, 17-year-old girl. He's in his 40s and she's in her 30s. 5-bedroom house, 3 stories.
How long have you been there?
The day after I left Tennessee, when she told me to live. And it was at supposed to be August, middle of September. We'll go with.
So 4 months. 4.5.
Yes, sir.
All right. And you mentioned that you may be able to get your own house. Have you made an offer on a house? Is there some paperwork pending?
I've looked at several houses. I'm waiting for calls back the first of the month to roll through. I got the money. See who's available.
But you don't have a specific house in mind?
No, not yet. No, sir.
All right.
Currently on the market.
All right.
If anybody's listening, you got a house for rent, hit me up.
The next category is the moral fitness, your moral fitness, or mom's lack of moral fitness. Both would be available for you to talk to me about. What information do you want me to consider in that area?
I am clean. I don't have a desire to drink or use. I am emotionally ready on every level to face life. Like I bring it on, like whatever comes at me, I'm ready for it. Like I don't even know what that word means that you just used. I thought I'd answered it right. I hope I did. Moral something.
Moral fitness would have to do with whether or not you have engaged in behaviors or attitudes or actions which would call into question your ability to have the child with you. So things such as fraud, things such as sexual abuse, things such as pornography, anything that would be a violation of some moral code of ethics.
Oh, that sounds disgusting. No, sir. Okay, we don't do that around here. We don't do that.
Am I allowed to say something?
If you wish to testify in the future, you can. Do you have a legal objection to what he's said so far? All right. You may say something in the future on your testimony time, and you may need to make notes so you remember to do those things, but that's how he gets to say his side, and you get to say your side if you want in the future. Okay? All right. Sir, you mentioned going to prison. What was the reason that you went to prison? What were the charges?
Assault charge.
Okay.
Violated trying to buy a pistol. My charge was felonious assault, domestic violence, obstruction of justice, and using a computer to commit a crime.
So no moral improprieties, no things that I described earlier.
I ain't no weirdo, sir.
Okay. Anything else that you want me to be aware of on this issue of moral fitness?
I guess I've got my full PSI, and if the court would like to see it, I don't have any charges on my record that would present me as some sort of creepy weirdo that shouldn't be around. I had a charge thrown at me that was dismissed that I have a copy of. I've got all the paperwork because It's for a whole other story, but I'm not a sex offender. I don't have any, like, I've got a violent case, but I'm not a drug dealer. I'm clean. I don't. Question.
The facial tattoos that you have, do they have any significance as to meaning anything?
Absolutely, every single one of them does.
Okay. Do any of them have any connection to morality or morals or ethics? Such as the reason I'm asking is certain, and I can't see exactly what all of the around the eyes. One looks like a teardrop, but I can't see it from here.
It's actually my shop logo.
Okay.
And then this was her name. This is my son's name. This is my daughter's name. This is a memorial tattoo for a friend of mine that passed away in a motorcycle club. This is a memorial tattoo for a friend of mine that overdosed on fentanyl. This is just it's a chemical makeup for serotonin. It was just a reminder to be happy no matter what I'm dealing with in life.
The reason
Not a
I
gang
asked
member,
is I have seen gang signs in the past, and I'm not saying that you have them. I'm just saying I couldn't see exactly what was on your face, where teardrops indicate killing.
No, sir.
or
I've
being
never.
involved in a killing.
I do
So
not
that's
have
why I
any
asked the
bodies.
question.
No, sir. I've not been convicted. I don't have any robberies, murders, rapes,
All right. And
CS.
that's why I asked the
No,
question.
sir. I tattoo for a living, and
Yep.
I'm just trying to throw up a
I don't have any
big flag.
issues with the tattoos themselves, other than if they have a significant meaning, which would be a red flag. All right.
I also don't have any swastikas, no white supremacist, none of that. It's just lots of skulls, though.
All right. The next area is mental and physical health.
Perfect. I actually am in great physical health. I'm in great mental health. I've actually never been prescribed medications. I have never been bipolar, depressed, manic. I've never had hospital stays. I'm not on any medications currently. Actually just had a complete body scan done, and I got high cholesterol. The doctor said I need to walk more, but I'm perfectly healthy.
All right. The next area is the home, school, and community record of the child. Are you aware of any home, school, or community involvement that the child has been involved in that you can say that I have helped with that?
No, she's only 4. She hasn't attended school yet, to my knowledge.
No other activities of the child, not Girl Scouts or going to the fair or involved in something else at home or craft projects or anything like that?
Oh, there's all sorts of crafts that happen. Oh my goodness. I bet her house has glitter and scissors and paper cuts everywhere. Like we definitely do crafts. And I know they're still doing crafts for sure. I know that.
How much have you been involved with that?
All of it. Like, I'm the one that invented it, sir. Like, I'm the one that brought that idea to the table. Lately, not as much as I'd like to, because just before I got here, I think that was like the first time we talked on the phone for more than 2 minutes in the last 5 months, because she blocked me. I've been trying to reestablish all this. Yes.
All right. The next area is the willingness and the ability of each of the parties, that is the mom and the dad, to facilitate and encourage a close and continuing parent-child relationship with the other parent. So how willing are you to encourage a good relationship between Roman and her mom, and how have you done that in the past?
I absolutely encourage that relationship. I think it's important on both sides. I think it's extremely important for a child to have both their mother and their father. I think Cassandra's done a great job. My daughter is absolutely sweet. She's perfect in every way. I don't have any qualms with that. But I do think that it is important to have a mother and a father in the home. There's things that the child needs from both.
Okay. Then the last area is, well, 2 areas. The next to last one is domestic violence, regardless of whether it was directed at or witnessed by the child. You and the mom been involved in domestic violence?
Oh yeah, tons of them. But we actually got fortunate, and the kids were always at usually her mother's house. Her and I, we like to turn up on the weekends, give grandma a chance to spend time with the kids, and that lets us, you know, cause a ruckus through the town. So there were definitely more domestics than there should have been. But I am grateful that the children. Oh, I mean, I'm not gonna act like I'm sure they seen some fighting. They definitely heard some arguing. Like, you know, told her to leave, told me to leave, told us to stop, begging us to quit. Yeah, there was way too much of that was happening. But in front of our daughter, I don't know. There's one video clip you could hear me saying that I don't want to argue in front of my daughter. I'm trying to walk away from her while she's following me around, trying to poke me.
Have there been any convictions for domestic violence?
Yeah, they got me with one. She went to jail. She went to jail for domestic once. And I ghosted the police or whatever. It didn't go through. However, I don't know. I'm sure she's gonna have a different story, whatever happened. But she did go to a jail for domestic on me, and I did go to a jail for domestic on her multiple times. But those were all dismissed except for the very last one. But the kids
Was
went
she
around.
convicted of the offense against you, or was that just an arrest and then release and the case was not done?
No, it wasn't. How did what was it? Dismissal? Like they just dropped it. Another weekend at our house. Much of that.
All right, and then the last one is any other factor that the court or you might think would be relevant. Is there any other information that you want me to be aware of in determining your custody and parenting time decision? I just like to inform the court that there is no moral, personal, financial, medical, or emotional traveling restriction. There's no reason why I wouldn't be able to start this process that you are talking about. I'm already established. She's 4 years old. My absence was only physical. I wasn't all the way gone. I was still present, and I'm still trying to be present had she not blocked me from every platform, unrightfully so. I feel that I think this should be about my daughter, our daughter, excuse me. This should be about our daughter and what's best for her. And I think me only getting to see her once a month that's parental alienation, and that should be classified as abuse. I would like to be way more involved in my daughter's life, way more involved in her life than her dad was with her. No offense. Last question I have for you. I think you told me before. I want to make sure I get this correct. You were in prison from 2023 through August of 25.
Basically, I got arrested September 25th, 23, and I was in the Roscommon County Jail until July 9th of 24, and then I spent July 9th of 2024 until August in the federal prison system.
And when was Roman's date of birth?
Went to 21.
All right. Have you completed your testimony now, sir?
Yes, sir. I'm done now.
All right. Ms. Varon,
Yeah.
you were very patient while I asked my questions. Do you have any additional questions that you wish to ask of Mr. Ingersoll?
No.
All right. Mr. Ingersoll, is there any other evidence that you have that you wish to present today?
That depends on how y'all are taking in her videos into account. If you're gonna look at her videos, then I just want the rest of the videos played. Otherwise, we could just keep all that right out of the courtroom.
Well, we'll see what she wants to do in just a minute, but I want to make sure that you've had an opportunity to do what you think you need to do in your side of the case.
Yeah, actually, there was something. There was so while I was in prison, I was they call them needs, right? Stuff that they're like classes that they mandate you to take.
Yep.
And there is a list of them. If I may approach the bench, Your Honor, am I allowed to do
Why don't you
that?
give it to the deputy?
So it's there in the middle of the page. Some of them have yeses, some of them has nos. Those were classes that were mandated for me. I didn't just sit there and do nothing. I spent a lot of time reflecting, and I can say like that I am a better man coming out of that. It's definitely not what I wanted. I definitely don't know if I needed it, but since it got dosed to me, I took advantage of it, and I come out a better man, and being a better man for me, my kids.
So what you've handed me is what appears to be an individualized needs plan, the inmate copy from the Department of Corrections,
Oh, that was a Federal Bureau.
Federal Bureau of Prisons.
Yeah, that one.
All right, I got that. So there is a page on here that says current FSA assignments,
Money, financial stuff. I already
and
paid it.
then there are some of these where it says need, where it indicates yes. Does that mean that you took a course on that?
Yes, that means that was so like some of them they didn't think that I needed it, like a financial class was.
All right, so just for the record, let me read what it says yes for. It says need antisocial peers, yes. Need finance/poverty, yes. Need substance abuse, yes. Need work, yes. Those are the courses that you took and that you want the court to be aware of.
Yes, sir.
All right, I've read those and considered that. I'll give those back to you. Any other information that you want me to have?
Yes, sir. That is on this next piece of paper that's being handed to you is just the judgment from the protection order judgment that was put against her motion. I said that right.
All this says is that a matter before Judge Howard Wilson on January 22nd of 2026 in the Chancery Court for Rutherford County, Tennessee.
That's the wrong one.
Adjourned to resets the orders.
Never mind, that's the wrong one.
Heard on Monday, February 2nd.
Well, that's the wrong one. No, I'm done.
Ms. Varon, you have the ability, if you wish to testify, you would be subject to questions or cross-examination by Mr. Ingersoll or by myself. If you wish to do that, you do not have to testify if you don't want to. What is your wish?
I'll testify.
All right. Would you raise your right hand so I can swear you in, please? You swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead and put your hand down. I'm going to give you an opportunity, like I did him, to tell me what it is that you want me to know. And then I may have some specific questions for you about the best interest factors. But this is your opportunity to go ahead and tell me what it is that you want me to know. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. So he keeps bringing up this video. I'm not really worried about showing the video. Honestly, it's not, it doesn't paint either one of us in a good light. But that is why I blocked him in all of that, because I was trying to get a personal protection order against him. And the only reason that the personal protection order didn't go through is because he was never served. And so once he got to the court and started testifying, he told the judge that he was never served. So we had to stop what we were doing. And they had to serve him with the paperwork. And then, anyways, it doesn't matter. So essentially, long story short, I blocked him and I did all of that because I thought that there was a no contact order because of the PPO that I was trying to put in place. So I wasn't just blocking him to to block him. Like was trying to get a personal protection order against him for myself and for my children. If you watch the video, you'd see why. He's a very physical person. It doesn't, whatever, that's aside from the point. I guess really my what I'm worried about more is, yes, he knows his daughter. Yes, she knows him, but he has not had to take care of her. He doesn't know how to react to tantrums. He doesn't know really anything about her. And when he was here for the 2 weeks, I was also here for the 2 weeks. And I also live with my best friend, and she's been around the girls for 2 years. She's helped me with the girls in Nigel's place. She's been around, and she was also here. So yes, he was here, and yes, he helped do things, but we were also here. So he didn't take care of her by himself. And when he said that he had her for 2 weeks and then he was arrested, he didn't have her for 2 weeks. I left the house with the kids. We went and got a campground for a couple nights. It was nice out, so we went and got a campground. And then we went and stayed at a hotel. And it took me 4 days to find a house. It didn't take 2 weeks. It took me 4 days to find a house. And when he was arrested, my child was sent with his other ex-wife. So my child went missing. He failed to tell the police that Roman was my daughter and not his other ex-wife's daughter. So my child went missing for a couple hours because he was going to jail and I didn't know where my child was. So I had to go on a wild goose hunt for my 1-year-old daughter because he had just been arrested for spousal abuse against me. And did you get my evidence and stuff? You have my packet?
I got information from you, but it's not been admitted, so I can't say that I have considered it yet because it's not been admitted.
Okay.
So I have to let that happen in court. I can't just review things outside of court and then have that information. I have to do so in court.
Well, I just wanted to make sure you had it in that paperwork somewhere. There's text messages from Nigel admitting to giving his son a bloody nose when we lived together and his son would come stay with us. He was very violent. He gave his son multiple bloody noses, and there is text messages in there of Nigel admitting that, calling his son stupid, calling his son retarded, all of these things. I don't want him to have the chance to do that to my daughter. He is very good at putting on a show to your face right in front of you, standing in front of you. He knows how to say the right words. Clearly his arrest record alone should show he has 5 domestic violences against me. And the only reason those were all dismissed is because I had to go down to the courthouse and have them dismissed because he told me that he wasn't going to jail for this shit. So he would threaten me and make me go dismiss these cases. And the one that I was arrested for, the very first one, my children were at the house and he choked me out, which is why it was dismissed. They arrested me. And when I gave my statement, it was dismissed because he choked me out while my children were in the house. That's why my case was dismissed.
Wait. What's your legal objection?
I'd like to see the police report to that because I have the audio clip still to my
Again,
phone.
objections are not, I disagree with what she's saying.
Okay,
The
sorry.
objection is there a legal reason why she can't say it at all?
Okay.
Okay, so if you'll be given a chance at the end to disagree with her factually, but you can't just say, I disagree with her, so she can't say it.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ms. Barron.
Yes, sir.
So, yes, I was arrested because I took his phone out of his hands, but he proceeded to choke me out while my children were in the house. And that is the statement I wrote, and that is why that case was dismissed, because I was falsely arrested. Like, they left my children with him. We had only been together at this point for like 2 weeks or something. They left my 4-year-old daughter and my 6-year-old daughter with him and took me to jail. And then after my statement, it was dismissed.
All right.
So, and then going back to the moral thing, he was like, oh, I got this charge. So the 17-year-old girl that he lives with, one of his charges is using a computer during the commission of a crime. It's because he sent a nude photo of me to that 17-year-old girl who at the time was 14. He sent a
have that
naked
photo,
picture
Your
of
Honor.
me.
She wasn't exposed. She wasn't.
I
Mr.
wasn't,
She was
it
naked.
doesn't matter.
Stop.
She's still on.
Stop. Mr. Ingersoll, I've already
Yes, sir.
told you, you don't get to make comments whenever you want to make comments. We do things in order here. If you have an objection, a legal objection, you can say, objection, Judge. I'll ask you what that objection is. But an objection is not, I disagree with what she says. That's
Right.
not appropriate to talk then.
An objection.
What is your legal objection?
Whatever case she's talking about was dismissed. I was charged with something else. That's
She
my
can-
final disposition.
That's not a legal reason for her to not explain what she believes.
All right, well, now she's trying to
Mr.
defame my character.
Mr. Ingersoll, that is what cross-examination is for.
All right, yes, sir.
Ms. Varon, please continue.
So I mean, Rolla is the one who prosecuted him. Rolla is the one that brought on the charges. Rolla is the one that saw the picture of me and thought that it was a nude photo. I mean, it was a naked picture of me that Nigel sent to a 14-year-old girl that he's now living with. I don't think that it's appropriate for my child to be going to stay with him with a bunch of random people and his girlfriend. Like, good for him. I'm happy that he's got a girlfriend and she's pregnant and they're moving on with their lives. Like, that's cool, but I don't know her. And what I do know of her is that she's a drug addict and she's been in and out of rehab and she's overdosed and all these crazy things. And that's not the kind of role model that I want for my
Okay.
child either.
Slow down for just a second. Let me ask a question about that. You're talking about the person that he currently is his girlfriend or that he's
Correct.
testified about previously? All right.
Correct.
How do you know that she's involved with drugs?
I mean, I lived in Gaylord. You hear about people, you know who's doing what, people talk. I mean, it's, yeah, sure, it can be considered hearsay, but I'm sure you can find paperwork. Like, she's been to rehab multiple times.
You don't have any personal knowledge. You haven't seen her do drugs
No,
or had her tell you that she
I've
does
seen her.
drugs.
I think I've seen her in person one time.
All right. Please continue with your testimony. Go ahead.
I mean, I don't really have much else other than, like, I'm not trying to keep him from her. I'm trying to do it the way the courts say it should be done. A reintroduction period. I come down here, stay for a few days, get to know her again. Like, yeah, you know her over the phone. Yeah, you can have a conversation and everything's fine and dandy until shit hits the fan and she's throwing a tantrum and he doesn't know how to deal with it. And next thing you know, he's giving my daughter a bloody nose because he can't control himself. I don't want that for my daughter.
Why do you believe that what you just described would happen?
Because I've watched him do it to his son. And when he did it to his son, I got in contact with Krista and told her about it. And he did it on multiple occasions, as well as, so he wasn't only violent with me, he was violent with his son, verbally abusive, calling his son is highly functioning autistic. He calls his son retarded. He calls his son stupid.
Objection, that is not true.
That is very true.
Show me.
Stop.
You can read
Stop.
the text message.
Hey. I don't know
There's
how
a
you
text
guys talk.
message in my
Ms.
evidence.
Varon, stop. Ms. Varon, stop. Mr. Ingersoll, I'm not going to put up with your comments.
Yes, sir.
You've told me that 3 times now. Yes, sir, but you keep making the comments. So the next time I hear it from you, I'm going to hold you in contempt of court. Ms. Varon, the same thing applies to you. When I tell you to stop, that doesn't mean that you keep going.
Yes, sir.
So if it happens again to either one of you, I'm going to hold you in contempt of court.
Yes, sir.
We do things in order here, and I'm not going to have the 2 of you sniping at each other.
It wasn't my intention. I apologize.
Thank you. All right. I'm going to let you take a deep breath, Ms. Varon, and continue, and then I'll have some questions for you.
I've seen him be violent with me, with my children, with his own children. He was violent with his ex-wife. I've watched him be violent with his male friends even. I've watched him knock out quite a few of his male friends. Like, he just lacks self-control. And I don't think that that should be at the expense of my 4-year-old daughter, because he doesn't know how to control himself. Like, he can say he loves her and she's beautiful and all of these things, but he said all of those things to me while he was simultaneously beating me. So he can say whatever he wants to say about how he cares about his daughter, but that doesn't take away the facts. There is a plethora of evidence against him. Like, he went to prison for abuse. Like, I don't want to keep him from her. I want him to have a relationship with her, but I want it to be a safe one.
Let me know when you're, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm done.
All right. I'm going to have some questions for you in a minute, but I want you to be able to be somewhat put together when I ask the questions. So if you need a minute, take a minute.
I'm good. I'm good.
All right. So I'm going to go through the same kinds of questions that I had for him, that best interest of the child factors with you. And I'd like to get your side of those things as well. So the first question is the love and affection and other emotional ties that exist between not only you and the child, but between him and the child. How would you explain that to me?
There is no doubt that they love each other. And I mean, that's obvious. She loves him. She adores him. And that's perfectly fine. I love that they can, that they have such a good relationship when they're talking, and everything is good when they're talking and all of that. So I mean, that part of the relationship is great between them. And obviously it's great between us here. I love her. She's funny, she's cute, she's quirky. We snuggle all the time. We're always going out to parks and waterfalls and always going to do things. And um yeah, I just, as much as I can be with them, I am with them, and always doing what we can to have fun and to be happy.
All right. The next question sounds like it was written by a lawyer because it talks about capacity and disposition. But what it looks for, and as I explained it to Mr. Ingersoll, it's talking about how much ability do you have, and how in the future, how much going forward do you have the ability to provide love, affection, guidance, education, and religious training or creed. So love and affection and guidance, education, religion, and creed are the areas that I'd like you to talk about.
I mean, I feel like I've done a pretty good job so far. She's 4 years old, and I also have 2 other daughters that I feel like I've done a pretty good job with, keeping their moral compass pointed the right direction, keeping good grades in school, doing your homework, taking care of yourself. That's, I tell my kids all the time, you might think I'm mean, but I'm only doing it because I love you. When my daughter doesn't want to brush her hair or brush her teeth or whatever, um, I just want what's best for them at all times.
All right. Anything else that you want me to know about in that area?
No, I think I'm good.
All right. The next area is, again, that capacity and disposition, which is your ability and your future-looking conduct in the areas of food, clothing, medical care, and other material needs.
I mean, I've provided for her for over 2 years now without Nigel's help. Yeah, he gave me $150 the other day, but I mean, I would have paid the bill without it. We are very well fed. We're very well taken care of. She's quite spoiled rotten, actually. So I mean, I don't really have any qualms with, being able to take care of her. She's She's very well taken care of. And I don't foresee anything happening in the future for that to not be the case.
The next area is the length of time that the child has lived in a stable, satisfactory environment and the desirability of maintaining continuity. Talk to me about that.
We have lived in the house we live in now for a year and a half, and our lease is not up for almost another year. We have about another year here. We just re-signed a contract for 18 months. So we've been here for a while, established. We have a big backyard with a bunch of toys. She's my oldest daughter is also established, going to school. She's got her friends here. So we got our roots in the ground, that's for sure.
All right. The next area is the permanence as a family unit of your current household. Who's in the household with you? How long have they been there? How long have you been with the kids? That sort of thing.
So in the household, it is myself, Roman, my 11-year-old daughter, Serenity, and my best friend, Alexis. And we have all lived together we've lived in this house. We moved from Gaylord together in July, but she kind of lived with me a little bit before that. So Alexis and I and the girls have all been together for almost 2 years, well over a year and a half. We're established.
Any issues with the relationship between Alexis and Roman?
Not at all. No, they call her Aunt Lex. She's awesome.
All right. Any issues with moral fitness?
On my side, no. I mean, I just do what I think is best in any situation, and that's also what I'm trying to do in this situation. My moral compass is pointed north. You know, I'm doing what I can to make sure all my kids' needs are met, keep the bills paid, keep the food on the table. You know, I just
No
going through the motions.
convictions for moral issues that you're aware of on your side?
Nope, nothing like that.
Anything with Lex or with your oldest daughter that you're aware of?
Nope.
All right. The next area is mental and physical health. Any issues on your side for that?
I have prior, when I was 17, I was diagnosed bipolar. I throughout the years on and off have taken medication for it, but it's not a necessity for me at this point. I'm 32 years old. I'm pretty well in control of my emotions for the most part. I mean, I have my days. My relationship with Nigel has caused a lot of PTSD and anxiety. So I do have bouts of PTSD in certain situations, but I'm also learning how to deal with that and how to, get my mind back where it needs to be. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not suicidal. I'm not crazy. I'm not any of those things. I just have my days.
Are you currently in any sort of form of therapy or counseling for those issues?
No.
Have you been in the past?
Not for those issues, no. I had court-ordered counseling.
All right. But none for your bipolar diagnosis, none for your
No.
PTSD that you're aware of?
No.
All right. Any home, school, or community or record of Roman that you want me to be aware of?
I mean, she goes to daycare, so she just started that last week. She did go to a daycare prior, and she went there for about 8 months or so. So, I mean, she's socializing. She's good with other kids. She has fun at daycare. And she's very smart. She knows numbers and ABCs and all that good stuff. So, I mean, she's She's doing good.
Any activities that you have had her involved in the community?
I mean, other than like just going, like when we see, like I took him to see Santa for Christmas, or we went to the light show. So I mean, we do stuff like that, but no, um, nothing like community work or anything like that.
All right. The next question is the willingness that you have to facilitate and encourage a close and continuing parent-child relationship between Roman and her dad.
I mean, like I said, I want them to have a relationship. I want him to be able to see her and be around, but I want to know that it's a safe relationship. I want to know that, you know, when she has her days and she's throwing a fit in the middle of Walmart, that he's going to know how to deal with it and how to handle himself. And so, I mean, I am not opposed to them having a relationship. I just want it to be a safe one.
All right. The next issue is that of domestic violence. You've told me a little bit about that already. Is there anything else that you want to add?
I mean, outside of what I told you already, no. That's pretty all cut and dry.
Is there any other information, any other factor that you want me to consider?
I mean, just as well as the things that I've already said. I mean, his son Riot should be enough of an example. He doesn't like going to hang out at his dad's. He doesn't want to be there. His dad is mean to him and violent with him. And I mean, if that calls for anything, she hasn't seen it and she's not old enough to speak for herself, but he is and he has. And if that's any, I don't know.
All right.
It's been years of this for him.
How old is Riot?
Almost 13.
I believe.
All right. I have one more question for you, and then I'm going to ask the same question of Mr. Ingersoll as well. If you had to tell me, well, I'm going to ask you, I want you to tell me what type of parenting time that you would suggest that we use in this case, and be specific about how often and when and where and how you get there.
I mean, from my stance, I would not be opposed to him coming down and getting a hotel room for a few days. Maybe, I mean, I guess it depends on how much he can afford it, but if he can do it once a month, then come down once a month for a few months, or if he can do it every other week, come down every other week for a few visits and we'll see how it goes. I mean, I just can't see myself giving my child away to go states away with people I don't know I can't.
How many times do you want that to occur before you think that you would feel safe?
I mean, at least 3, maybe 4. I would depend on how the situations went, I guess. Like if we get to, you know, say the first 2 go good and we get to number 3 and something happens, then I mean, I guess we'd have to go from there, but.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand, but let's assume that things go well. You're looking for 3 or 4 times in Tennessee, and then what would you think would happen after that?
I mean, as long as everything went well and everything was fine, I would not be opposed to her going to stay with him for a few days. Or when I go up there, I can make a trip to Michigan and I can stay in Michigan for a few days and she can go stay at his house while I'm there in Michigan. And then, you know, she can get used to his house. Like I'm willing to work with him to do what needs to be done to make it happen the right way, but I'm not just jumping in.
How often would you come to Michigan and under what timetable?
I could make at least a summer trip for probably a week. I wouldn't be able to give you a time frame like today, but I mean, I can I could probably make a summer trip happen for a few days or something. Maybe end
Other
of
than the
summer.
summertime, what other type or length of parenting time would you be looking for?
I mean, when it came to like every other holiday, I mean, if you wanted, I guess that's where it comes into us just being able to talk about it and communicate and be parents. Like, I mean,
All right.
I have no problem just communicating with him and saying, "Oh, you want to come down for Christmas?" or "Oh, you want us to come up for Christmas?" Like I have two other kids with two other dads that I co-parent with very well. We have no issues. There's, I have full custody of my other daughter as well, and I have a 9-year-old that's in Michigan with her dad for the school year. I have no problems communicating with either of them, and I don't foresee, unless Nigel wants to create problems, I don't foresee there being an issue with this one either. I'm an adult.
Is Roman going to be in school in the fall of this year, 2026?
That is the plan.
All right. So we're looking at from now until September where she is available more without a school schedule. And then
Correct.
we'd be looking at school breaks, Christmas, Thanksgiving, those kinds of things, spring break, and then we'd be back to the summer schedule again as well. All right.
Yeah.
Any other specifics that you would have for me to suggest that you would suggest to me for parenting time?
I suppose my only other thing would be his girlfriend. I would like to meet his girlfriend before my daughter does. Like, don't just drop a bomb on my kid and be like, here's your new mom type shit, Like I would like for all of us to be able to sit down and have a conversation and be adults and do the thing,
All right. Mr. Ingersoll, I'm going to give you the same opportunity to tell me what it is that you think we should do for parenting time. What is your recommendation?
Your Honor, what I would like this court to consider would be me going to see my daughter. Sure, we'll go with that. And I understand the reintroductory, by the way of the book. But I'd like to have my daughter for more than 2 days at a time. I remember she got sent to her dad when she was real little. Like, I was really hoping that she would do the same.
So specifically, what is it that you're looking for? I understand what your basic.
I like 50-50 custody, Your Honor. I like to be able to see my daughter. And it not just be on her terms.
When do you want that to start, and under what circumstances do you want that?
Immediately, at the most extreme circumstances. Like, I'm just trying to do, Your Honor, whatever it takes for me to be able to continue to finish this introductory thing so I can have my daughter. I would love that. We miss each other.
Tell me what that looks like from your perspective, that reintroductory period.
I would like to go down and pick up my daughter and bring her back and go to the park, and we'll go fishing, and I'll teach her how to, all this stuff, like all this stuff. Like there's so many things coming out. Like I feel like I'm freezing, but I'm almost 40 years old, Your Honor. I'm capable of caring for a 4-year-old little girl. I've had my moments. Yep, my son, he aggravated me over a sandwich, and he was sniffling long after I told him he didn't have to eat it, and grabbed the tip of his nose, and he was still sniffling, and then it started bleeding. I didn't punch him. Yes, I have had my moments. I still feel like an ass. I'm sorry, Riot. Like, my little girl's safe around me. Like, I would like this court to consider giving me back the custody that I relinquished so I can be a father to my daughter.
All right. Anything else that you want me to know, sir?
I don't think so.
All right. I'm going to give both of you at most a couple of minutes if you want to. You don't need to if you don't want to. But I'm going to give you a moment to summarize, if you want to, why I should find in your favor. So I'm gonna let Mr. Ingersoll go first because this is his motion. Ms. Varian, you'll have an opportunity to do that too if you wish. And again, neither one of you has to do that. It's simply a good way for you to summarize what you think that the testimony and the evidence said. Mr. Ingersoll, if you wish to do so, go ahead now.
Yes, sir, Your Honor. I feel that I have provided a sufficient amount of evidence to this court today to prove that I am more than capable on many different levels to provide the proper care for a little girl on every level that needs to be provided. I'm not a danger to her. I am fully ready to take on the responsibility that she's had.
All right, thank you, sir. Ms. Varian, is there anything else that you want to add?
I would just like to add that I think that he's done the opposite, and I think that he's proved that he's not yet ready. He doesn't have his own place. He's only been where he's at for 4 months. He's trying to, as quickly as he can, gather as much as he can together to make it look like he has his life together, so that he can fool you into thinking that he's ready to be a parent. And I don't believe that that's true.
All right, I'm going to take just a minute while I sit here on the bench to organize my thoughts for a minute. So if you guys would just be patient with me for a minute, and then I'll make my decision and we'll kind of go from there. All right. I'm going to consider the motion by Mr. Ingersoll for custody and parenting time somewhat together, and I'll separate them a little bit as we go on to this. When we started this matter, I determined that there was a proper cause or significant change in circumstances in that Mr. Ingersoll has now been released from prison and is back and available to meet with his daughter and to have a physical and personal relationship with her other than simply by telephone or Zoom or other that he was only able to do because of his incarceration. So I believe that it was a proper decision and would have a significant impact on the child's life, and it is different than when the last court order was done, which was the judgment of divorce, which is in March of 2024. So there is a proper reason for Mr. Ingersoll to bring his motions both for custody and for parenting time. I do find that the, established custodial environment, as I put on the record previously, is with the mother. She has had Roman with her for Roman's entire life. Dad has been outside of that ability because he was incarcerated from, I believe, March of 23 through July of 25 or thereabouts, very close to that period of time. I don't see it in my notes immediately, but I did put that on the record. So Dad was gone for a significant period of time. Since then, Roman has been with Mom on a daily basis. Dad has had an opportunity to visit, but has not had an opportunity to establish a custodial environment. He is hopeful of doing so, and I believe that he intends to do so, but as of right now, he has not established that custodial environment, and I don't believe that Roman looks to him for the providence of food, clothing, shelter, guidance, education, and comfort and care on a regular basis as she would do so with Mom, because Mom is the person that's at home. Because of that determination that Mom has the established custodial environment, that Dad's, Mr. Ingersoll's burden of proof would be by clear and convincing evidence before I can make a change of custody. Looking at the best interest factors, it is clear to me that Dad loves and has love returned to him from Roman, that they have a good relationship, as limited as it is, but he does have a good relationship with her. So I do find that Mom has a good relationship also because of the length of that relationship. Dad has a good relationship. I believe Mom has a very durable relationship. And I'm hopeful that Dad's relationship continues to blossom, continues to do well. So I'm going to find that somewhat favors Mom simply because Mom had more time with Roman, not to the detriment of Dad in any way, but I just simply realize that with the time spent, the relationship is going to be deeper with Mom than with Dad. But I think Dad is doing what he can and has done what he can over time to try to keep a good relationship with Roman. And that's to his credit, it's hard to do while you're incarcerated, and I believe that you've done a good job of attempting to do that. So there's a slight favor of mom on the first element of love, affection, and emotional ties between parties and the child. The second one has to do with the capacity and disposition of the parties to give the child love, affection, and guidance, and to continue the education and raising the child in his or her religion or creed. Dad, again, talks about what he would like to do, and this is a forward-looking thing. So I give him credit for wanting to be there for braiding her hair, for homework. He didn't mention much about religion, but does believe that he can prepare her for school. On the other hand, mom has actually done all of those things, prepared her for school, gotten her into the daycare, helped her with her ABCs and her numbers and those kinds of things. And again, I can't fault dad on those things. It's because mom has had more time with the child. And so all I can do is look as to what that is and then try to project that forward. It does appear that they both want the same things for their daughter. They both want her to succeed. They both want her to have a good life. On the other hand, I also have to consider dad's relationship with his son, with his other children, in how he has reacted with them. And that leads me to believe that he may have some difficulties once Roman gets past the very, very young child stage and gets up to the stage where Riot has gone through already, where he is, as most children do, saying annoying things and doing annoying things. And there may be some difficulty in relating to that. So again, I believe that mom has a greater capacity and disposition, both because of her current involvement with Roman and because of dad's past involvement with his children, which was somewhat detrimental, even by his own testimony. The third area is the capacity and disposition of the parties to involve the child with food, clothing, medical care, or other material needs. Again, mom has done that already and has continued to do that. And I find that the home and the care has been good with mom so far. Dad, I believe, has the ability to do those things. He has a good paying job. He has insurance. He has transportation, and I commend him for having all of those things. So I'm going to find that, again, slightly favors mom just based on the past history of that. I believe going forward, the dad fully intends to do all of those things and to make things available for Roman. So I only slightly believe that mom has a slight edge in that based on the past actions that she's taken. The fourth element is the length of time that the child has lived in a stable, satisfactory environment and the desirability of maintaining continuity. Roman currently lives with mom and an older sibling and a fictitious aunt, and has done so for about 1.5 years now. Dad's environment, Roman doesn't have any idea who those people are, or maybe only a slight information as to who they are. And I find it to be it would be much more difficult for Roman to be brought into another family's home and try to establish a relationship with you in the beginning. It would be much easier if it was you. And then there's also the new girlfriend that she doesn't have much, if any, relationship with. So again, those factors favor mom because of those reasons. The moral fitness of the parties involved. Dad has been clean and sober. I went through some classes at the prison to, I believe, address some of those kinds of issues. He's indicated that he doesn't have any additional convictions. Mom brought up the fact that dad has improper use of a computer crime that involved sending what she characterized as a nude photo to a 14-year-old or a young person. And that does cause me some concern, even if it's not exactly as stated by mom. It does cause me some concerns there. So I do believe that mom has a slight edge in that category as well. I didn't hear anything about mental and physical health for either party that caused me any concerns. Mom has indicated that she has a bipolar diagnosis quite a number of years ago when she was 17. Does not appear to be having any current issues with that. Is not involved in any current medication, therapy, or counseling from that. So I find that to be equal. Very little in the homeschool and community record of the child, and what is there is based on what mom has done, so that it would either be equal or very slightly towards mom. Both parties have indicated as to the next issue, willingness and ability of each party to facilitate and encourage a close and continuing parent-child relationship. Both parties have indicated that they wish to have that be good between the parties. It's pretty clear to me from the short time that I've been in front of both of you that it's very difficult for both of you to talk to each other. Given the amount of domestic violence that both of you have talked about occurring between the two of you, I don't find that to be out of the ordinary. It would surprise me if you were able to talk with each other in a civil manner. And the fact that I had to warn both of you repeatedly about making comments in court about the other lets me know that if you were outside the courtroom, it probably would be much worse than what I observed. It appears that Dad does make some effort to encourage his daughter to have a good relationship with the mother, and that Mom has, to her credit, allowed Dad to have contact with Roman when it was not court ordered. She has attempted to negotiate with Dad, and that's not to say that Dad had to agree with what she said, but the fact is that she has attempted to make those negotiations, and she has indicated to me that she's not trying to keep the child away from him, but just wants to make sure that the child is safe, and that is an appropriate thing for a parent to consider. So I find in this particular case that the domestic violence, which is going to bleed into the next one, but the domestic violence that Dad has perpetrated on Mom is heavier and more often than what Mom has reciprocated with. So I find that there's a small factor that favors the mother in that case. Domestic violence is the next factor. And I think everybody has said that there is tons of it, that this is a toxic relationship between these two parties. The kids, other than Roman, the children that the parties either didn't share but have between them, have heard it, and in Dad's testimony is begged for it to stop. Dad has been convicted once. Mom has not been convicted of domestic violence, but has testified that it occurred to her on 5 times by Dad on her. And Dad's comment was, it's just another weekend at our house. So that tells me that domestic violence is an ingrained feature of Dad's everyday life. And that gives me some pause in allowing contact with Roman because of that, because she is at best 4 years of age. And if she were to be in Michigan, she would be a long ways away from her mother and her safety net in Tennessee. All right, so having said all of that, as to custody, I do not find that Dad has met the burden of clear and convincing evidence for me to change custody. Therefore, I'm going to keep custody the same. Mom will maintain sole legal and physical custody. And then I'll address parenting time in just a minute. Parenting time is designed to have, if at all possible, a good relationship and as much time as possible between the non-custodial parent and the child as possible. That's the state of the law. So it is appropriate for Dad, even though he does not have legal and physical custody, to have parenting time. And so under the parenting time rules, I'm going to implement a reasonable time period to begin with for a reintroduction of Roman with her father. Dad, when given an opportunity, didn't give me, other than a desire, didn't give me anything specific that I can work with. So it appears to me that Mom's suggestion is the most appropriate one, that either once a month or once every other week for the next 3 or 4 times, Dad can go down to Tennessee, have a weekend with her. I believe that would be during the day, it would not be an overnight visit. So he can come and see Roman, see her on a Saturday or Sunday or a long weekend, even if it includes a Monday, but it would not be overnight. and that would be supervised by mom or her designee. So if she wants to, if she's at work or needs to do something else and wants to allow Aunt Lexi to watch, that would be fine. Supervision is not, I get to decide what everything that dad's going to do. It's basically I'm along to see that the kids are safe. Dad gets to play. Dad gets to go where he needs to go, at the restaurant or to the park or to wherever. So that's what I mean by supervision, just watching and just make sure that they're there. And so we will do that through, I'm going to say 4 times in Tennessee between February and May. So you got February, March, April, and May to do those things. Starting in June, I'd like to have a Roman in Michigan for, I'm going to say 5 days. And again, that would be overnight with mom at dad's or with dad during the day. So dad can introduce her to the family. He can introduce her to the girlfriend. He can walk with her, talk with her, take her out, have breakfast, have lunch, have dinner, whatever. But she would come back to the hotel or the house that you're staying at with mom during the day, during the evening hours for each of those 5 days. And then I'm going to have a hearing in early July.
To make sure I got my own house, sir.
Just to make sure where we're at, to see where we go from there. If everything is going well, I would expect that we would continue to have some time in July and some time in August as well, before we go back to the school schedule. And it's really difficult to do much of anything with a school schedule when you guys are states apart. So if she's in school in Tennessee, there really isn't anything I can do at that point other than on school break. So we'll talk about that. We'll discuss what needs to be done for that once we get to the hearing in July. And then we'll see how things went for between now and the July period of time. Okay. So I will, not going to get done today, but hopefully tomorrow type up, if not on Monday, I'll type up this order so that there are some specifics in it. Hopefully it'll go along with what I just said. Do either of you have any questions as to what the court's order is going to be? Mr. Ingersoll?
No, so you said 4 times visits if they go good, and visit number 5 is I get to bring my little girl back here for 5 days, and then either she comes to pick her up or
Mom can come up in June. Basically, that's what I'm anticipating will occur. The overnights in June will be with mom. Should be with you during the day, but the overnights will be with mom. So the first time that Roman comes up to Michigan, I want her to have a place that she can run back to that she feels is safe and knows and is comfortable with. So I want to give you the opportunity to introduce her to Michigan, introduce her to where you're staying, what your house is at that time, the people that you're going to be with, the girlfriend that you have, the babies that you have, whoever that is. But I want her to be able to come back to mom at that, and then we'll take it from there and see how it goes as to what goes forward from there. Any other questions that you have, sir?
no, sir.
Ms. Varon, any questions that you have?
No, sir. Thank you.
All right, that'll be the order of the court. That's all for today. Thank you very much. Next matter is Nigel Ingersoll and Cassandra Ingersoll, or Cassandra Varon. We have parties for that case. I do see Mr. Ingersoll. I do see Ms. Ingersoll as well. This looks like an order to show cause for contempt on custody and parenting time issue. Mr. Ingersoll, is this your
It is, Your Honor.
request? All right, why don't you go ahead and tell me what it is that you want and why you want it.
I would like some makeup time done in June. I came to court with you because I filed a motion to change my parenting time in custody At that hearing, we established visitation, and I made a trip to Tennessee to see my daughter. I called in the morning. Long story short, she dodged me on one of my days. I drove all the way to Tennessee, and she acts like she can just control how the court is dictating our situation. And I I spent a lot of money to go down there, and I got dodged on my time, and I don't think that's cool. And I think that I'd like to give it the court's discretion to somehow make this up to me.
Well, tell me in a little more detail what time you spent with your child and what time specifically was kept from you.
Well, the first day I didn't get to see her at all, and then the second day, we did go to that cool little dance party in the caverns, which was super awesome. I've got I don't know four maybe 5 hours with my daughter, and then it ended in an argument and my daughter's mom saying things in front of our daughter and her other daughter that she definitely should not have been saying in front of children. So she dictated my first day, and we agreed on it. And then I only got a few hours the second day. We agreed on a time, and I drove all the way to Tennessee. And it takes me 10 hours to get there, and I got 5 hours total.
So what happened on the first day that you didn't have any contact at all with your daughter?
She dodged my calls. They went out to the park and they went out to eat. And because I stopped by the house, I drove by anyway, and there wasn't nobody there. I think Cassandra had to go to work, and whoever was with the kids who was gonna, I don't. They just decided they weren't gonna let me see my daughter. I had to make a stop, and yeah,
Did
there was
Ms.
a.
Ingersoll know? Did Ms. Ingersoll know that you were coming that day?
Absolutely. I called her at 7 o'clock in the morning. She answered, said that she'd call me when they get around. I sent her a text a little while later because I had a situation happening. I told her I might need a minute, and I called her as soon as I was done. And she flipped off. We got into a big argument over the phone, text wise, and she didn't let me see my daughter because
So what was the need a minute situation?
I needed to stop at the hospital. My significant other is currently she's 7.5 months right now, and there was a situation where she felt like she should go to the hospital because she's going to be a first-time mom, and as a responsible father, I wanted to make sure that I took her to go take care of this thing, and I texted Cassandra and told her, "Hey, this is what I got going on," and like, we can get into it if you want, but long story short, she didn't let me see my daughter when I went down there.
Well, if you're not
Knowing that I
available to
was
see
down
your
there.
daughter because you're at, I'm sorry, Mr. Ingersoll, but if you're not available to see your daughter because you're at the hospital, how is she going to let you see your daughter?
I was available. I was available.
How's
Look, I
that?
had a pit stop to make. Well, so I called at 7 o'clock in the morning. 3 hours goes by, and I try to call again. I get no answer. I get a text. I say, "Hey, I might need a minute. I had to make a pit stop." Her reasoning wasn't even my pit stop. It was either way. I mean, I guess you could let her explain it.
Yeah,
If you
can I
really,
talk?
I'll give you a chance in a minute, Ms. Ingersoll. Just be patient. I'm talking to Mr.
Okay, thank
Ingersoll.
you. Yes, sir, thank you.
Please continue, Mr. Ingersoll.
so Your Honor, I drove down to Tennessee. I called super early in the morning. She said, "I'll call you when we're ready." I had something come up. I said, "Hey, I might need a minute." When I was done with that, I said, "Hey, I tried to call. I stopped by the house. I texted, and she wanted to argue instead of letting me see my daughter." And then
When
she let me see my daughter the next day.
when were you done with your pit stop at the hospital?
Maybe an hour and a half later,
What time of day?
noon, before noon.
Well, I wasn't there, so I can't tell you what day and time it was. You have to tell me.
It was noon, Your Honor.
All right. So you were available from noon forward. What contacts or attempts to contact did you have with Ms. Ingersoll to try to meet with your child?
I tried to call. I knew she was at work, but she had no problem communicating text-wise back with me. I made multiple attempts. I begged her. I pleaded with her. I'm any more attempts would have been pathetic. Like, I think I tried hard enough. Like, and the problem is she doesn't have control of my life, and she's doing everything she can to control every situation because that's the only control she has left.
All right. Mr. Ingersoll, I'm more interested in times and dates and facts as opposed to opinions about the other party. So if you could help me out.
We had an agreement that I was going to come down on the 30th and the 31st of March. She knew I was coming on the 30th. I called at 7 o'clock in the morning. I tried to call her back. She said they still weren't ready. And I said, hey, I might need a minute. And when I was ready at noon, she dodged me. They went to the park and went out for ice cream or lunch or whatever else it was. But they did that to purposely dodge me, knowing that I was down there because she was mad about it.
Again, Mr. Ingersoll, I don't need you to tell me what you think she was doing. I just need you to tell me when you missed and what happened from your side, what you saw and what you heard. So is there anything else that you want to add?
Yes, that I went down to Tennessee and I didn't get to see my daughter on the 30th like we had agreed.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay,
All right.
That's it.
Thank you. Ms. Ingersoll, your side of the story, please.
Okay, so my whole issue is that when we first went through this whole agreement, when we were in court with you a couple months ago, it was agreed upon that his significant other was not to be around the situation until June, when I took my daughter up there to meet her after all of this had gone down. She was not supposed to be down here. She wasn't supposed to be involved in anything. And he did call me at 7 o'clock in the morning. I answered. I said, give us a little bit to get ready. I got my daughter up, ready to go, all of the whole thing. And then I said, all right, we're ready. And he said, okay, I got to go to the hospital. I said, oh, are you okay? And he said, yeah, she's worried about something. So it's real convenient that 10 minutes before he's supposed to come meet up with us, his significant other, who is not supposed to be involved in the situation at all, needs to go to the hospital.
Ms. Ingersoll, hang on, slow down. I said the same thing to Mr. Ingersoll. I don't need the comments about what the other side is or shouldn't be or might be doing. I just need you to tell me times and dates and places. Who did what? I don't need the comments about he's bad or he's this or he's that or his significant other is this or that. So
I'm not trying to say that. I'm trying. Okay, but I'm telling you, sir, that it was agreed upon that his significant other was not to be involved in any of this situation until June. He chose to bring his significant other down.
Slow down. Hang on just a second.
I did. Okay, I did.
Just, you've told me twice now that it was agreed upon that his significant other would not be there. I'm reviewing. Hank, I'm looking at the order and I don't see anything in the order that says that. Can you point me to something that says that?
It was said on record. It was said on record by you that his significant other was not to be involved. It says in the record, details stated on record. His significant other was not to be down here and not to be involved in any of this process until June. He was supposed to come down here by himself 4 times over the next 4 months to spend time with his daughter, not be worried about his significant other.
All right.
So he brought her down here. It caused a problem. He had to remove himself from coming to see his daughter 10 minutes before he was supposed to be here so that he could take his significant other to the hospital for 2 hours. And by the time that 2 hours had passed, yes, me and my daughter had already gone about our day, and I had to be to work in a couple of hours. I didn't know whether or not he was going to show up with his significant other. I didn't, I knew what the agreement was when we agreed upon it, and I didn't want to be involved in that situation. So I gave that day a rest. I said, I can't deal with this today. It's too much for me. I emotionally, mentally, physically, I can't. Like, he has caused me severe PTSD, and he has put me in situations before that I couldn't get out of. And
All right.
it makes me really uncomfortable.
Ms. Ingersoll, again, I don't need the details of why necessarily.
I understand.
I just want to know
trying to explain why. Okay, I'm just trying to explain why it made me uncomfortable that his significant other was down here. That's all I'm saying. It all intertwines. That's the reason why I didn't meet up with him, because I was worried that she was with him, and it was agreed upon that she wasn't to be down here.
What happened the second day that you agreed to allow your daughter to have contact with him?
Nothing. I went and picked him up from the hotel room. We went and did the concert as we were supposed to. Everything went fine that day up until I went to drop him off, and he wanted to bring up what happened the day prior and how I don't have control over his life, blah, blah, blah. I understand that. I don't want control over your life, but you agreed to not have her around until June. So there's no reason for her to be around until then.
So what you're telling me is the second day she was not there.
Correct. Well, she was at the hotel room. He left her at the hotel room.
All right. What prevented you from doing that the first day?
That part, though.
Mr. Ingersoll, I don't need your comments.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Ingersoll, what prevented you on the first day from, once he told you that he was available afternoon, from
because I didn't trust him to not show up with her. I don't trust him. I was having anxiety. Like, I was having a severe panic attack.
But you were able to do it
showing up with
day.
her.
All right, but you were able to do it the second day, right?
Because I took a breath, yes, because I let myself relax and I took a breath, and I wasn't going to meet up with him the second day, but I made an agreement in order to prove that he wasn't just going to show up somewhere with her. I said, I will come to the hotel room. You come outside by yourself. I will pick you up. We will drive the hour and a half it takes to get to the concert with our daughter together. And then when the concert's over, I will drive you back to the hotel room. That way I knew he wasn't just going to show up with her. I made a separate agreement outside of the first day's agreement, and we didn't have an agreed upon time the first day. He just called me at 7 o'clock in the morning and was like, all right, you ready to go, bitch? Like,
don't need the language.
Okay. Not even what I said.
Mr. Ingersoll? Mr.
I said,
Ingersoll.
who's ready? Yes, Your Honor.
Mr.
I did not
Ingersoll,
use that language.
I don't need your comments either. So both of you just need to take a breath and slow down. So here's what we're going to do. The court ordered 2 days in a row weekend daytime visits. Through his own reasoning, he missed the morning of the first day. That's on him. Unfortunately for you, Ms. Ingersoll, it was on you that he missed the afternoon of the first day. So he's entitled to a makeup. You're supposed to have time in June here in Michigan, that there will be 5 consecutive day visits, no overnights, supervised by you or a designee. I'm going to add a half a day, 4 hours to that. So he gets 5.5 now when you're here, when you're here in June for him to have his parenting time. You can either do that, or you can give him some additional time on one of the other weekend visits that he's going to have in the state of Tennessee. Which would you rather have, Ms. Ingersoll?
I don't mind giving him extra time on a day he's down here. We've gone to the zoo since then. We've already had 2 other visits since this whole thing went down, and everything has been fine. And he's hugging me and telling me he misses me
Ms.
and all this other
Ingersoll,
stuff.
Ms. Ingersoll, slow down. I don't need all of the additional information. The question was, do you want to
Somebody
do
does.
it in Tennessee or do you want to do it in Michigan? So I assume
I'd
that you
rather
want
do
to
it
do
in
it in
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Yes,
Mr.
that would be fine.
Mr. Ingersoll, when would you like to do the additional 4 hours in the state of Tennessee?
I was wondering if we could do it in Michigan. I mean, considering she's the one that violated the day, like, can I ask respectfully why we're giving her the, like, don't you think we should be asking me? I mean, can I get a new mediator? Is there any chance that we could get another mediator? Like, every time I've gone down there, it's a problem. Like, I kind of feel like unintentionally, you and the courts kind of set me up to hang out with my ex-wife, and it's ended in disaster, in arguments. And I think it's slightly inappropriate, some of the things that she brings up and says in front of the children. And I would strongly urge this court to give me an option to have an additional mediator besides just her. Like, it seems like it's pretty closed off, and I just got back from Tennessee, and this situation,
All right.
and by the way,
Ingersoll?
the 5 days in June, that's unsupervised, right? Because that's what it said last time it's supposed to be. Earlier in your motion, you just said supervised by her, and that's not true. Okay, I'm done.
The court order says in a 5 consecutive day visit, no overnights in Michigan, supervised by defendant mother or her designee in June. So that's what we're going to do. The question is, when do we do this makeup 4 hours? Mr. Ingersoll is asking. Hang on, I'm not done. I'm not done. Mr. Ingersoll is asking for that to be done in Michigan. Ms. Ingersoll is asking for it to be done in Tennessee. I agree with Mr. Ingersoll because it was Ms. Ingersoll's actions that prevented him from doing it. We'll do it in Michigan. It will be added 4 extra hours to the time that he's here in, she is here in Michigan. Your request, Mr. Ingersoll, for someone other than me or some other mediator is denied. I am
No. I
don't.
Your Honor, I don't mean you. I mean somebody to supervise the visits with my daughter.
No, you are the dad. She is the mom. You have
and
to
the
get
mom
along.
is doing a bad job of momming, sir.
Mr. Ingersoll, I don't need your extra comments. You're the dad. She's the mom. The two of you got to grow up and learn how to be adults over your daughter. The two of you, if you can't, it's very obvious to me that the two of you can't talk to each other. That has to change. The only
We do,
way.
sir. Okay, hang on. I have something to say. Can I say something, sir?
No.
Oh.
This is the problem. The two of you can't talk to anybody. Period. No, I'm not listening to either of you anymore. That's why I muted you. Grow up, act like adults, become adults for your child. If you don't, you're going to screw her up. We're done today. He's getting 4 hours in Michigan. I'll add it to the court order. Case closed.
Your Honor, I do want to bring to the court's attention, there is an additional parenting time violation that's in the process as well with friend of the court.
I'll hear it when it gets here.
Thank you.